Hey everybody, Brett Thompson here, Thompson Law Group, another Teaching Tuesday. This edition of Teaching Tuesday is going to go over some investing terms for commercial real estate. All right, so commercial real estate, so that would be your office buildings, retail, shopping centers, could be multifamily like apartment buildings, warehouse space. So these are, we're going to talk about how to analyze commercial property. And the most common way to analyze a commercial property, or the most favored way in the industry, is by determining the cap rate, which is the capitalization rate that a property produces. All right, so the cap rate is basically at what rate am I going to get my capital back. So let's say you buy an office building for $1 million. Regardless of whether you're financing a portion of it or not. All right, so cap rate does not take into consideration the loan. All right, now most of the time you have to put 20 to 25% down, and then you would finance the remaining portion of it if you want to go through a lender. However, the capitalization rate is basically how much of the purchase price per year are you going to get back, all right, until you completely get back from your income on the property what you put into it as far as your capitalization, which is the purchase price. So got a couple of examples here. So let's say you've got a piece of property, it's an office building, let's say they've got 10 tenants in there, and your net operating income is $100,000 a year. So your net operating income is your gross rent, okay, minus your operating expenses. That could be management fee, landscaping, if the landlord has to pay utilities, electric, water. So you take your gross rent minus your operating expenses, your costs, and then that equals your net operating income. So after you've paid your expenses, there's $100,000 a year that this property produces, okay? Now, if the purchase price is $1 million for the property, we take your net operating income, we divide it by the purchase price, and that would equal a 10% cap rate, capitalization rate. So for every year, you're going to get 10% of $1 million in your net operating income. All right. So cap rate is basically the determination on is this a good investment or not. And then cap rates are also going to be different depending on what area of the country that you're in. A very hot market may have a lower cap rate. So a lower cap rate is better for sellers. A higher cap rate is better for buyers, just to keep that in mind. Now, let's say you purchase the property at a 10% cap rate, and you own the property for a couple of years, and let's say you raise some rents, all right, or you get some new tenants in there, and you're able to increase your net operating income, either by lowering your expenses or by raising the rents. But let's just do a little scenario here. So let's say now, a couple years later, your net operating income is $120,000 a year, okay? Let's say, hey, I'm thinking about putting this on the market. The market cap rate in my area is about 10% for office buildings, all right? So I'm gonna take my net operating income, I'm gonna divide by a 10% cap rate, and that's gonna equal $1,200,000. So that is the fair market value, if you will, okay, of what your property is now worth, okay? So cap rates are used, it's a calculation, your capitalization rate, to see, what is the income, what's the return on this investment. And based on your cap rates, that will also determine what you can sell it for, based on what your net operating income is versus what the cap rate is in your area. So hopefully this was a valuable little explanation or illustration of the capitalization rate. And this is when we're getting into commercial investing, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.